Hello everyone, I'm back with the Our House character tier list. The particular list was titled Major Characters, so not every single character from the show was on here. Because if it was, we'd be here all day, and I can't go through that. So let's get started. We have the best, which is my favorite characters. We have Still Great, which is not necessarily my favorite, but still very high up. And then we have Good but Lacking, because that would be either they don't stand out to me that much, or they're good but don't have that much development. And then we have Average. That's for characters who I don't have any strong attachment to, whether I dislike them or not. And we have Awful, which are characters I think that are just written poorly, or they're just annoying, but they still have at least like one character trait that goes for them, as in like they're hilarious and sort of the aspect that I like. And then we have I hate the character. Some of these characters, I think you already know who's going to go into this tier if you know me. So yeah, let's get started. We have Edric Blight. Um, I'll talk about his sister in a little bit, but I do think they're pretty lovable. I will say though, his first appearance does not leave a good impression on me. All of the Blights honestly come off that way to me. But over time, the twins they grew on me, and Edric himself, I feel like is an endearing character. I love how he's just like I don't know what's the word, but more lower on the totem pole, just compared to the rest of his family, which is probably not the best, but that's the best one I got to describe him. And he's just hilarious, in a charming way too. So I'm gonna put him Still Great, mainly because of his first episode where I don't like his how he treats his sister and how they wanted to make her see reason. I just don't agree with that personally. Tiny Nose, what the fuck? So this list said it was the major characters, but she's not. Pretty sure she's not. I feel like she's more of a recurring character, if anything. I'll talk about her though, since she's on the list for some reason. I think she's okay. She has her funny moments, especially with Mary Mark's comics. I do enjoy those because she's just more funny there. And plus, I love that Luz, the main character, did not know her name for like almost half the show, and yet somehow her own girlfriend does. It's just never explained. It's just honestly kind of funny. I do enjoy her as a character, but she's not one of my absolute favorites. I'm gonna put her in Good but Lacking because I do think she's really funny, but I don't connect with her as much. Ugh. Why did I have to get to this character so soon? Do I really need to talk about her? I just feel like I'd be repeating myself with the whole fandom because she's honestly one of the worst characters of the entire show. Unlike her husband, who we'll get to much later. Oh, look at that, they're right below each other. That's kind of funny. Anyway, back to this bitch. Anyway, the more I see her on screen, the more I hated her. Especially when we first saw her in season two in Clouds on the Horizon. But even before we saw her though, she basically forced Amy to get the only friend that she had. I think she was the only friend. And Amy was only like a child though, so what the living hell? Um Imagine how she was like when everybody was growing up from a baby to a teenager. I feel like she only just had her kids to use them for her own gain, and I don't want to talk to them about her any longer because she just fucking sucks and she does not deserve my time. Obviously, I hate her. I wish she was not a character, but at least she's not homophobic. That's something I can't even give her that though. So we have Steve and I'm, I'm just trying to figure out what even to say about him. I feel like he's one of the most beloved characters, and I like him enough. But I wish that he had more to do because he's like in 25% of the whole show. I get why he's a Cub Scout, so obviously they don't get that much focus. But I just wish that we did find out after before season three finished that he and Matt were brothers, and I wish that had more of a focus. I feel like if they continued with season three, they would have had an episode with him and his brother. But I get it; they cut it for time. So I'm gonna put Steve in I think Good but Lacking. Really the only thing that bothers me is that he's not as developed as he could have been. And to those who really love this character, I'm sorry. I do like him. I just wish he had more development. So Emra, I feel almost the entirely the same feelings about like with Edric. When you're talking about her, you're also talking about her brother because most of the time you always see them as a collective. They're like a package deal, you know. But I feel like as a character, I do like her on the same level as Edric. But like I said with Edric, her first episode does not leave a strong impression on me. I feel like I could look past it for both of them because I myself, I am a twin. So I appreciate the show more for just giving us twins in animated animation. And plus, remember, she's just a chill person, so I'm probably gonna put her right next to her brother. I'm not sure if I can like put her higher or anything. So Terra Snapdragon, once again, not a major character. Half of this list I'm looking at, they're like more recurring characters than anything. It's interesting that this list is major says major characters when they're not. Which is yeah, it's just interesting. Anyway, Tara, she's like in 4 episodes, I want to say. So compared to everybody else on the list, she does not have that much of a presence. I might have to due to something with the show ending earlier than it did. So we don't really get to see much of the Coven heads besides the three who deflected to the Resistance. I mean, she's threatening enough. She's got some funny jokes. I like her design too, with the hair and all. Um, but as someone from the Nine Coven heads, I don't feel as strong as of attachment, so probably good but lacking. Maybe in mid here for that one. She's not one of my personal favorites. So Tibbles, once again a character we don't see as much. He pretty much just appears after like 2 episodes in the first season. I think it was only in 1 episode in season 2, and then after that we see him like at least twice in the finale. From what we have seen, he's got some funny jokes. He's such a jerk though at times. Because seeing him on screen just annoys me to death. The only thing I really care about is with he always gets his comeuppance every time we see him almost, which is always satisfying because he actually gets taken down a peg. For the list, I'm gonna put him on. Yeah, I'm gonna put him awful because unlike this bitch, I don't always be surprised, but he is pretty annoying. Hootie is a character that both astounds and terrifies me because I don't even know what to say about him, but I do think he's interesting. I do sometimes feel sympathetic when he always does not get appreciated or people just ignore him. And plus, I do like his friendship with Lilith. They can be pretty sweet together. Other times, though, he does get on my nerves just a little bit, like when he ate King's letter. Although, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, he technically dodged a bullet. So that's, I can't give a point for that. But I was just so annoyed when he did it because it just meant we had to wait even longer to learn more about King and where he came from. Or when he's trying to help people in season 2, knocking on Hoodie's door. Which I can appreciate that episode, but he definitely went way too hard for my taste. He went too far for my taste. Yeah. So this moment do outshine the others where he's just being a bit much. So I'm gonna put him maybe high B. I feel like I'll change my mind, but right now I just feel like that's where he's at. Adrian, again, not a major character. What is with this list? Anyway, he's on the list, so I at least have to talk about him. That's at least fair, but he's still not a major character. He was only like in 3 episodes, I think. That's compared to all the other 9 Coven heads. That's probably the least amount of screen time. Maybe, or maybe I'm just misremembering. I think he was only a major character at least once in Labyrinth Runners. Yeah, he was. So I do like his design. It can be a little bit dramatic, which can be either frustrating or hilarious, depending on who you are. For me, I think he works well enough as an antagonist, but like with Terra, we don't know that much about him. I feel like if the show didn't cancel, it might have been like a flashback episode with all the Coven heads. I feel like that would have been interesting to see. And plus, his whole shtick about everything being a stage projection for him, I just like that character aspect. I think they like ran the whole joke about it well enough. I feel like they did enough with it to me to be invested. So, and it does fit because he's a illusion coven head. So plays or movies are always fake until the actors are actually like working. So I can get why they did that for him. I'll put him in low B because I feel like he's not in the show very long, and I do enjoy him. But I do have to admit, if we saw more of him, I'm pretty proud of him would have been higher. Principal Bump, I think, is just okay. He has his moments, especially in Nims the Breaks Kid, when he feels like you can feel that he cares about his students. And plus, I like his interactions with Ida, both her in that episode and as an adult. Especially, I feel like he was really sweet in the flashback episode. The rest of the show, I think he works, but he just does not stand out as much to me as everyone else from Hexside. So I'm gonna put a C. Kikimora, this freaking bitch. I don't hate her as much as Odalia, which is saying a little bit, because there is that moment in the finale, in the season 2 finale, where she actually helps King. But then we see her in season 3 just being an enemy again, so it's just like, what side is she really on? I can't really pin her down at times, because she's working with Lilith, Foodie, and Matt at the end. And that might have been a community service. It might have been like unclear. I'm just so confused by her at times because she could be either really sympathetic or really annoying, especially during the Coven Parade episode. I'm gonna put her in high D. Yeah, probably she's a little bit better than Tibbles but she just swaps too much for me to actually care. I feel like later down in years she might actually like try to become Lex Bellows or something. I swear. And plus, her rivalry with Hunter, I feel like falls flat because we don't get to see much of it. I think it's only present in 2 episodes, or at least 2 or 3 episodes. I swear, but I feel like we don't get much for that. That was kind of disappointing as well. The Collector freaking terrifies me. I do not want to mess with him. He's also not a major character, but I'm technically counting it because he's technically how the show came to be. With his interactions with Owl Beast and with Bellows. He's only really alluded to for the second half of the show, and he's only like 3 episodes as a physical appearance. So he's still a bit shrouded in mystery, especially with his siblings, because we don't know where the archivists really are. At this point, they might as well not even matter. Anyway, I'm not even supposed to be talking about them. The Collector to first at me, I enjoyed his vibe because it's all mysterious and all on edge and all that. And he's got this past with the Owl Beast, but then you see he's like this little child, and you think he can't be that dangerous until he freaking kills Bellows. And I'm just like, holy shit, get this kid away from me. You know, he really did pull through to changing himself in the finale, which I always assumed they'd go with because he's a kid. So if they went anything in any other direction, it felt like it would be unnatural. So, and plus his friendship with King is really sweet at times, as well as his relationship with Luce. Uh, I'm gonna put him in high A because he is really adorable, but he also just freaking terrifies me, and I don't want to I really don't want to piss him off. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably put him in S. Matt, I feel like he's okay. The first few appearances with him, I fucking hated him. Especially how he shoots Gus. That was pretty annoying. In season 3, I think he's more tolerable, but it's not enough to make me like really love him. It's still something at least, but he's something like Odalia or Bellows, which we will get to, or Basha. But trust me, I'm not looking over his personality because he was a total cunt. I feel like out of all of the jerk characters in the show, he's probably the least likely to get on my nerves. So I'm gonna put him low B because he's not that annoying. He's definitely better than Asia. I'm not sure if he's better than his brother. Amity, like with the other members of her family, her first impression was terrible. I did not like her at all for the first half of season 1, like most of season 1. I think episode 12 she was at least tolerable. Not tolerable. I think she was like more likable by episode 12. Over time, she became one of my favorites. I just feel bad for her, honestly, because her mother is just freaking awful. And then it's like that's the rest of her family. When you first see them, it's not like they're actually like saints either. So her crush on Luce was adorable, And she did become a kind of person by the end of the show, and she managed to become friends with Willow again. So I feel like the rest of the show definitely has earned her the S rank for me, because her and Luce just carry the show easily. Lumity forever. I do not want to talk about Botcha for very long because after she became the main mean girl, it was downhill for me. Season 3, she's at least a little bit hateable, less hateable. It's not enough for me to leave that bad taste from the first season out of my mouth, though. F tier. At least she's not in season 2 that much, but she's really annoying, and I really don't like her. Mila, I feel like until season 3, did not win me over. Because it just feels like she wants Zeus to change who he is into like a normal person. I, really, she didn't want to do that, and I can understand her concerns for Luce. At the same time, though, talking to her daughter was also an option that she did not go with. So I just have to question why she didn't even talk to her daughter about her own bullying, if that was really the issue. I mean, as you learn more about her, you can see that she is a good person with being a vet and having to take care of 6 teenagers all by herself. More power to her for that. But her actions are just a little bit more questionable for me. She is still a good character. I am gonna have to put her in B tier though, because of the first half of the show, I don't think she's as quite as good as the second half until like season 3. Yeah, she does help V in season 3, but her promise to Luce just feels a bit too extreme for me. Yeah, it's just I didn't hate that plotline, but at the same time, I'm just like, is talking to Luce not an option? That's just the way I keep questioning. Where am I gonna put her on the whole list? Probably like right here. Darius, I think A tier. Maybe, maybe between the twins. I know I've mentioned first impressions a lot, but when we actually see him going against Rain and Ida, I legit thought he was evil. But as we get to know him, it's just an act, which was just a shock to me. And I can't ignore how much he cares for Hunter. It's just so sweet because he's such a good parental figure to Hunter. And he's got some funny moments like the whole animosity for the resistance thing. That just gets me. But with the way he acts in Ida's Requiem just makes me have to put him here. If they had to reveal a bit sooner, he probably would have been low S, but that first impression, yeah, that just still baffles me to this day. Because I feel like it took just a little bit too long for that reveal. Freaking this motherfucker is going right where he belongs. F tier. If he was, I put him even lower than F tier because he just sucks. He is a great villain for what he is, but he's just so freaking messed up. I mean, killing your own brother, the only family he had left at the time, just because he does not like witches, it's not something I can say something. I can't say that for any other Disney villains for television, but he's still just like an awful person. And thank God they killed him off because if they tried to redeem his ass, I would be so mad. Things going in S easily. He's just so adorable and endearing, and plus Alex Hirsch is just a delight to hear. And he does have a super tragic backstory. Edge of the World just really shows that he wants to know more about himself. And for the longest time, he didn't even know who he was. That's also really sad. And plus, his relationships with both Ida and Luce are just heartwarming. And the trio also very easily carry the show. Okay. It's kind of funny that they cut her off her head here, but I know that's Lilith. I had the hardest time liking her for a while, especially in Agony of a Witch, where she's just so arrogant and confident. I do like the twist that she cursed her own sister over something that Ida did not even care about anymore because she just wanted her sister to be in the Emperor's Coven because they thought they could both change things. And there was something I wish I was done better. That's basically Lilith disappearing for the first half of season 2. I get why they do it, but it just feels like an excuse to not have her be in the show until later. I did enjoy her more when we got to see her again in the second half of season 2. I feel like she really came through there because she's just really endearing and funny. And her second design in season 2, the one we see right here, it just looks adorable. And her being aromantic is also needed in animation. We love to see it. I'll probably put it in low S because I do love her, but the first half of the show is a bit hard to pin down for me. Like I can't get behind the first half for me at times. Rain also S tier. Probably just a little bit above Elizabeth a little bit. So their character was much needed, and I feel like honestly we should have seen them more. Their relationship with Ida is just so wholesome. And I wish they got a kiss scene, wish they did not. He would have been they would have been so flustered by that, excuse me. And I can relate to them because I also used to be the shy type and I always used to hate speaking in public. Still honestly have that problem because I'm stammering less, but it's still a problem because I'm not adjusted to hearing my voice on camera. So Rain, he's just they're just really relatable, and plus the non-binary representation is a huge plus for me. So yes, S tier. I mean, they don't appear as much as I'd like, but still, why do I keep messing them up? I'm so sorry, Rain. I'm gonna try and be more respectful next time I talk about them. Hunter, okay, if you sorry about that. If you know me, then Hunter is probably my favorite character of the whole show. He has the best character arc, I feel like, out of all these people. He went from a follower of Bellows to being just adorable, socially awkward, but endearing, and he had rational fears and reservations. And if you read my whole story, I think you already know how I feel about him. I also do love his design. I was so sad when he cut off that forelock. I wish he appeared earlier though, because I wish we could have seen even more of him. At the same time, though, I'm very satisfied with what we have with him for the most part, because there are some aspects that do disappoint me with him. Well, not necessarily with him, but just how they wrote him. His relationship with Willow, it feels unclear. And I like to believe they're canon, but I also don't like the fact that he does not get a line at the end besides saying bye at the end, unlike the other people of the Hex Squad. And I'm always gonna be sour over that. Other than that, though, obviously S tier, probably high S tier, and it's probably gonna stay up like that. I can't imagine what the show would even be like without him. That's how much I love this character so much. So V, I like her. I do wish we got to see her more. There are several things that we don't see, like whether or not she's dating Masha. And we never see her directly interact with Luce until not until we never see her directly interact with Luce in season 3. And I always thought that was a weird change. Maybe it got cut for time, but I do also love her design, both as human and as a basilisk. She's really sympathetic as well. I feel so bad for what she has to go through. And I like how she's naturally in the Hex Squad without anyone having to say anything. I would have liked her more interactions between Hexside and V as well. I feel like the time skip kind of makes up for that, but not entirely. Because it is all off screen, so we never actually get to see it. So she's probably gonna go mid eights here? Because she is on the list of characters that I wish that we had more time with. So I can't put her in S. Yep, this seems about right. Alador, like I said before, with his awful wife, his first impression left a lot to be desired. He wasn't as terrible when he actually first saw him in season 2, but he's still not a great parent at the time because he just minds his own business. I do love the fact that, unlike his wife, he actually does see how fucked up his family was and actually gave a shit later on. And you can really see the contrast between his first appearance and then later on in season 2, because he does realize that Adalia is not a good person at all. I do think it took longer than it should have in writing wise because his character growth is great. I do like when he quits working for his wife. Good for him that they're divorced. And having said that, it's either low A or high B. Hmm, maybe low A because his development is not the greatest. because he also was not a great parent at the start, like his wife as well. So Ida, I think out of the main trio, she's probably the weakest to me. Not because I hate her, or she's a bad person, but because she could be just so stubborn as the show went on. And I get why she could be so cynical and defensive and shady. That's just how she is, or at least was. And she could be so dismissive of Luz sometimes, though, until the episode ends, like the prom episode, or the episode where she wanted to hide Luz away. And that happens at least 3 or 4 times, I swear. She's not perfect, but and I get it, but she could be too harsh or too dead set at times, depending on the episode. Over time, I did grow to enjoy her, but even then, like I said, there is that episode where she refuses to let King or Luce be involved with Belos and trying to stop him. I get why, but at that point, it was late into season 2, so she should have known that Luce was not gonna just do nothing and hide. I think she works as a character. She is pretty good, especially with the plot point that she is cursed. Some of her actions though I cannot get behind at all. So I gotta put her mid A tier, probably above Darius. So Gus is honestly adorable, and I do want him to be protected. Kind of similar to Hunter in a way, especially the episode Lab Runners. I wanted to give him a hug so bad, especially since in terms of a character, he does work. I feel like he's like a little brother, and they don't baby him. He just goes off on his own beat, and I love him for it. His baby face in season 1 was just adorable. Excuse me. Plus, I love the arc that he feels like his magic isn't as powerful as the others, but he still becomes very powerful with what he has. And I love his relationship with Hunter. It's just one of the best relationships out of the whole show. I'm not sure if I could put him in S tier, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I'm thinking about that episode where he lies to Luce in order to stay president of the human society. I think that was the name of it. And also he tells Willow to not say anything about the issue either. That was also not cool. Even though, no, I think I can sort of give him a pass. You can see why he did it. He did it on up to it. So I'm gonna give him high A for that alone. Probably above the Collector. Because unlike with the Collector, he's not terrifying. And now we finally get to the main character, Luce, who goes into S tier. Maybe right next to her girlfriend. Maybe even higher than that. So, Luce can be a bit pushy at times, especially when she was trying to repair Amity and Willow's friendship in season 1, or when she tries to hide her negative emotions so she can help others or not even acknowledge her feelings. But her good moments more than outweigh the bad ones, like her whole relationship with Amity, or just basically anybody else. She's just so selfless and determined and endearing and lovable. You feel so bad for her in season 3, but I will say there's no direct conversation about why they forgive her for helping Bellos. I mean, Hunter does kind of do that, but it's still kind of disappointing that they never bring this up again later. Maybe they didn't need to, but there's still. She's clearly over it by the vlog, so I guess I can forgive it. Either way, she's one of the best characters of the show because she's just so lovable and sympathetic. Finally, we have Willow. I don't want to sound mean, but out of all the members of the Hex Squad, she seems the least focused on. I mean, she is a good character, especially with her story with Amity and her self confidence. But I feel like she lacks a bit of development. I mean, in season 2, she was barely even a focus until the second half, even though everybody else had an episode focusing on them at that point. Which is a shame because I do like her. I just wish she had more episodes to focus on. She had at least like 4 episodes focused on her on the entire show. And she did have a character arc in season 3, thankfully, which I enjoyed. But for the longest time between understanding Willow and then Sword and Storm, she's like a presence, but she's still not focused on. Especially compared to Gus, he had a focus episode already at that point, like 5 episodes into season 2, and her episode was 13 season in, I believe. 13 episodes. What are season? And she was only in 5 episodes for the first half of season 2. So while I do enjoy her, she's not as developed as she could have been. So I'm gonna put her probably high B tier Because, like I said, I do enjoy her. I just wish she got more development. And that's it for the list. Let me see if I'm gonna change anything here. Maybe I will change Hootie to be like not high, low A tier. This voice is also just pretty funny as well. Maybe I'll move Tara down to average because she does also like with Adrian, she doesn't stick out as much. His personality is like more entertaining to me than hers, so yeah, that fits. Let's see. He's Death Hunter staying there. I'm not changing him. Let's see. Loose. I think this looks right. Anyway, so I'm gonna switch over from this show to talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that'll probably come out in a week or two. In context to those who read my stories, it's gonna take a challenge for me to even talk about the franchise. So we'll see where I stand with that, and I will see you guys soon.